Assignment 5. Assignment 5 is the last assignment of the course, due 7 days before each exam date, which means that if the group decide to try the exam for the first time in the first seat in June, July, you will have 7 days to submit everything, 7 days before the official date of the exam. So if the exam is, I don't know, 17 of, do you know when is the exam? Do you remember when is the exam?
4th of February.
No, 4th of February. Well, not June, of course. Well, if you want to wait until June, it's fine. But, sorry, 4th of February? 2 of February. So 25 of, or 25, 26 of January, you have to submit everything, and then the exam will start from the 2nd of February. If you want to be in that exam. If the group decide to be in the exam in June, let's say 17th of June, you have until the 10th of June to do all this work. So it's up to the group to decide when they want to try for the first time. That's it. So this is when this is done. So you have until the day to complete assignment 5 and write the report. So assignment 5 has two main parts. As you know or imagine, one is create the prototype in high fidelity, and the other one is doing usability testing on the prototype you created in high fidelity. So these two parts are sequential. So point 1, create an interactive high fidelity prototype with code. So you have to do it with code, starting from the screen of the medium fidelity prototype and the plan you made in assignment 4 for fixing the heuristic evaluation, the violations. You have to develop your code prototype to be sufficient for a usability test with the programming language and the framework you prefer. In other words, we don't care at all about which programming language you use. The important thing is that it's done in code. You want to do it in Rust? Good luck. You want to do it in React? That's an option. It's still a prototype. Just pick something that you are confident with. We don't mandate any specific technology. About technology. And we will see now, after this presentation, which options you could have according to the kind of prototypes you're going to develop. The underlying functionality of the prototype does not have to work completely, like in a product you release, but the participant, especially the one who is usability testing, should be able to fully complete all your 3 tasks. Unlike your mid-fidelity prototype, the high-fidelity prototype must look and feel like a real application because it's high fidelity. So simulating a realistic experience is more important than performance or backend computation or scalability. As for the other prototype, the trivial yet mandatory steps are not needed. Again, login, logout, cookie banner, info page, all this stuff can be omitted. Just focus on the thing you want to prove. However, data should be stored in a persistent way. Somehow, in a persistent way. That's because if you do an usability testing and the evaluator arrive at the end of the test and by any chance refresh the page, let's imagine it's a web application, refresh the page, and you don't have any persistent, you have to say to this evaluator, thank you very much, I'm going to discard everything because you cannot restart from scratch. So you need to have some persistence so that in case of errors, you still can continue with evaluation and not start from scratch and lose one participant. So data should be stored in a persistent way, data you need to complete the 4 tasks. So if you create something, modify something, delete something, those things need to be created, modified, deleted for real. And then there is expectation. And then below there is expectation on the prototype. that could have hard-coded elements, of course, because it's still a prototype, and you have to balance the interactive elements for the user experience for the 3 tasks with any hard-coded simplified stuff you can have. And here there is a list of things that the prototype should have. So it must cover, of course, the 3 tasks. It must respect the constraint of the target device, size, control, widget, navigation, etc. It must clearly apply good and consistent visual design aspects according to the device you choose. It must be more functional than the previous prototypes. It must simulate a realistic experience, as we said before, and information that can be manipulated by user must be stored in a persistent way, as I said just now. And this is about the high fidelity prototype. And then the second point, when you have done the high fidelity prototype, you have to conduct a usability testing. A usability test, you have to conduct a usability test with a number of participants that's the same of the number of group members. So if a group is 4 people, you have 4 people to recruit. If a group is 3 people, you have 3 participants. So at least 1 participant per team member. So 4 people groups, at least 4 participants. You can do more. Participants should fall within your target user base, your target user population as the beginning of the course. And as back then, you might test no more than 1 Politecnico students unless you have the permission for the teacher of your team. Do not test with people you know well, and especially with people who were already involved in the project. So you cannot recruit the same people that you use for the interviews. Then you have to follow the procedure we have done. We will do an exercise as well today and on Thursday, and write a test protocol where you describe participants, which role the team member will play, the 3 tasks, all the tasks that you need to use in the usability testing, if there is any questionnaire to be administered before or after the test or during the test, the consent form, and you have to include a debrief session at the end of the usability testing. So the debrief session is not optional, it's mandatory. And during the test, you have to take some pictures, because you need to deliver some pictures as well, of participants doing the evaluation, also from the back. Doesn't matter the face, but also from the back is fine, but you have to take some picture. And after all the tests, you have to prepare a list of potential changes that your group would like to implement to fix the main issues that emerge. And since we had some problem with verbs in assignment 4, let me highlight that is potential changes that your group would like to implement, which means that you don't have to implement those changes. It's just a list of, if we had another 3 months, we could do these things, but we are not going to. So the project, everything ends with the usability testing and a series of things we can change, but we are not going to at all. Things will be there. So at the exam, you will present the prototype before, as it is before the usability testing. Then if you want to change something, because you like, it's up to you, but it's not requested or required. And here there are the expectation. Deliverable, there is actually no real deliverable, because the real deliverable is the final report. But as also asked in the final report, you have to create a directory called A5 and upload by the deadline, 7 days before the exam, the test protocol in PDF with the consent form filed up and the questionnaire you give, if any. Everything else, how you run the study, the summary of the results, etc., will be in the final report, together with the photos. And the code of the prototype must be present by the deadline in a new GitHub repository that you will have associated with your group. So before Wednesday, we will create a new GitHub repository just for the code. So you will have, as a group, 2 repositories, one for documentation, the one you have used so far, and another one called as your project, not as your group, just for the code, where you can put there all the code. Also, the code must be delivered by the deadline, and you will have access to this repository on GitHub in the same team you have on GitHub. Here there are the grading criteria. As always, you see it's more or less half and half. 54% the prototype and 45% the prototype and 55% the usability testing, which include the results, photos, list of changes, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so this starts on Wednesday and will continue for the entire course up to 7 days before the exam. Any questions? Yes.
Before you said that the database is persistent.
Data must be persistent.
Okay. But if we have not the login and logout, we could assume that the user that is using the application is the one. Oh.
Yes. And? So yes, if you, well, it depends actually. So if you have a single user, we assume that the user is Mario, and whatever Mario does, there is just one user, but still you have persistent data. So every participant will act as Mario. Everyone will be Mario. But imagine you have an application where you have, I don't know, Mario the student and Luigi the teacher. In that case, you still don't need to implement login, but you need to implement a way to switch between the users, like a button that will reload everything with the Mario profile or the Luigi profile. But that just would be a button somewhere in the profile, on the nav bar, somewhere.
Yeah, but if the user type is only one, every time is used.
There will be always the same person. Yes. The person you will build to also prove the points of your prototype. So if you're doing something that is, I don't know, topic related with exercises, maybe you don't want to start with an empty everything, but maybe you want to start with a topic completed, some exercise done, so that you can see what happens if there is a mistake, if there is a review to be done, if there is a new exercise to complete, if there are scores and you reach a new level, you need to have some points to reach the newer level easier in a 10-15 minutes test.
We could also have some way to erase this data.
Yes. You will have somewhere a button or terminal commands that say erase the database or whatever it is, and start from scratch for the next test, for the session or for the exam, where you want to start from a clean state. But still, if you have exercise done, you want to have some exercise maybe in progress, etc., so that you don't start from welcome. You have a 0 point, 0 exercise, and you have to build everything. But you can show up medium stage of usage.
Okay, but this extra way to manipulate, let's say, this data will be of the prototype. For example,
The delete, yeah.
Okay, must be available.
Or when you start, it automatically, when you start the prototype, automatically it starts from a clean state, for instance. That could be, that doesn't need to be on the interface. It's back office, some way. Any other questions? Yes.
All the free tasks have to be really coded, or some of them can be hard coded? Because I remember that
The tasks needs to be implemented, meaning that the user can do the activities that are described by the task. Then, if you have a video call within a task, you are not going to implement a video call within the application. But the activities that may be run together in parallel to the video call, yes. So the video call could be hard-coded. Just not to use an example of your team, but of your project. Okay. But the activity of the task should be completed. Then maybe the video call in this case could be simulated in some way by a video, other things. Any other questions?